Okay, class, in this video we're looking at homework number 8, problem number 7. In the figure, ABCD is a rhombus. BE equals BC and angle CBE equals 50 degrees. Find angle DCE. So there's a lot of letters there, but first we must attenuate to the first part of the directions, which says that ABCD is a rhombus. Now when you have a rhombus, you need to have several things come to mind, which are the properties of a rhombus. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to make our plan. And if you have a rhombus, what do we know? We know that all sides are equal. Okay, and so they have labeled one of the sides BC here with a mark right here. So I'm going to make that a little darker. And it just so happens that that distance from here, point E to point B, is also the same. So I'm going to outline my rhombus in blue here. And I'm going to outline the distance that is the same in blue as well. So this is marked, that's the same, that's the same. And that's the same right there. Okay, all of these things are the same. Okay, I'm going to do that in blue as well. So it's just from E to B. Okay. That's a rhombus, all sides equal. We also know that the sides are parallel, opposite sides parallel. We know that the opposite angles are equal, like in a parallelogram. Interior angles, supplementary. Okay, we have all that available to us. So that's a rhombus. Now the BC is equal to BE is equal to BC, so I've highlighted that here. That's these ones. CBE is 50 degrees, so they do that one. So we want to find DCE. So which one is that? We use red to mark out our angle. This is D, C, and E. So we're talking about this little skinny angle here. When you find that one. And usually angles are part of triangles. Okay? Well, they are always. But in these figures, we'll have a triangle here. And this triangle is green. And what would be good for a plan is angle DCE is part of a triangle. And whenever things are part of triangles, we can look for angle sum. So that's one place to start. Angle sum of triangle, which I need to find the red angle, but in the outline to see. But we also need to find the angle, this angle here and this angle here. Okay, how about we call this angle D? I'll zoom in here so you guys can see a little bit better. Let's call this angle D and this angle F and this angle E. Okay, and we're going to call this angle C. This is angle B. So all of those angles are labeled. So we want to find angle D and F will be helpful. Maybe we'll be able to find it, maybe we won't. But let's take a look at what else we have. Because we have a rhombus here, or because these are we are labeling sides here, we do note that this side is equal to that side. So that means this yellow triangle is isosceles. I'm going to fill in this yellow triangle here. Okay, so we're going to note triangle EBC is isosceles. Now when that happens, we automatically know that the base angles are equal. Okay, because of the base angles of isosceles triangle, which means that E is equal to C. Okay, so we put that in there. Therefore, E is equal to C. Okay, so if E is equal to C, we have C's right here, and we have the 50 degrees right there for B. So we can say that 2c, from that we can say that 2c plus 50 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. And go ahead and from base angle sum of triangle. And that means that 2c is equal to 130 degrees, and then c is equal to 65 degrees. So both of these angles are equal to 65 degrees. Okay. So that's good. Now from E we can get to F, which is one of our angles here. Okay. So we have 65 degrees from E plus F plus, is equal to 180 from angles on a line. Okay, so F is going to equal 180 minus 65, which we get 115. Okay, so F is 115. Okay, so we got one of the two angles. Now, how am I going to get angle D? Now, that's the tricky part. Angle D. Let's go ahead and use purple. And I'm going to outline one more triangle. Upon further investigation, you might find that every half of a rhombus is an isosceles triangle. So I'm going to outline this in purple. Okay. And I'll put it here by the characteristics of a rhombus. We have all sides equal, opposite sides parallel, opposite angles equal. Interior angles are supplementary, and half a rhombus is isosceles triangle. Okay, so I'm outlining this in purple here, and we'll cut down right through here as we get half of this rhombus here highlighted. And then again on the top. Okay, so we have a purple triangle. It's half of the rhombus. Okay, and because that's also isosceles, because of these marks right here that were blue, we know that angle D equals angle B. So triangle DCB is isosceles. That means that D is equal to B. B is equal to D from base angles. And so now we have that D is equal to 50 degrees. And we have all three parts of our triangle here. DF and then this one right here, DCE. Okay, so because of that, we can do angle sum of triangle. So let's formulate our teacher solution. So the first thing that we needed is angle, from our green triangle, is angle F and angle D. Angle F was what we did find first by going through angle E and C and B. Okay, so let's do that one first. We have our, and when you start using letters in your teacher solution, you need to make sure that they are in your figure. Okay. So angle, first we labeled angle E equal to angle C from base angles of isosceles triangle. And then we have 2 C's plus 50 degrees is equal to 180 degrees from angle sum of triangle. Okay. That's these three angles right here. And then we're going to find out what 2C is. So we'll subtract 50 degrees from both sides. 2C is equal to 30 degrees. 130 degrees. Divide by 2. C is equal to 65 degrees. Okay, so that's where we got the 65s from. Okay. Now we have angle E, which I'm going to use this one as angle E. So E is 65 degrees now, or C, or whatever you want to call this angle. Let's just use 65. Relating it to F, okay, that was F plus 65 degrees is equal to 180 degrees from angles on a line. So we subtract 65 from both sides. F is going to equal 10 minus 5 is 5, 8, 7 minus 6 is 1, and that one we bring down. So F is 115 degrees, which we have. Now we got to get to D, because F and D, and then the angle that we were wanting, angle DCE, add to 180 because of the green triangle. Now if you remember that triangle DCB was isosceles, so D is equal to 15 degrees from base angles of isosceles triangle. And then now I can have D plus F, so 50 degrees plus 115 degrees, that's F, plus angle DCE, that's the one we're looking for, is equal to 180 degrees. And that's because of angle sum of triangle. And once you have all those together, we add 50 and 115 to get 165 plus angle DCE is equal to 180 degrees. Subtract 165 from both sides. And then we get, therefore, angle DCE sorry about that, is equal to 10 minus 5 is 5, 7 minus 6 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 0, so angle DCE is 15 degrees. Okay, this is homework number 8, problem number 10. So with this problem, we just start like the others, make a plan. We observe what we have where they say EFGH is a parallelogram and FG equals FH. So FG is right here and FH is right here. We need to find angle H. So we can outline that with red. There's angle H. But the biggest thing that they give us in this problem description is that the figure is a parallelogram. So I'll outline that in blue. This whole thing is a parallelogram. EFGH. When they say parallelogram, you should have several things come to mind, some properties. You should have, with the parallelogram, you should have some things come to mind. Let me zoom in here. Because you have a parallelogram, you should say that the opposite sides are equal. You should also think about opposite angles are equal. Opposite sides are parallel. You should have interior angles are supplementary. And those are interior angles are supplementary. So for opposite sides parallel, we can say that EH, the top one, is parallel to FG. And we can say that EF is parallel to HG. The interior angles that are supplementary are angle EFG plus angle FGH equal 180. Okay, so that's this one here, EFG and FGH. Angle EFG plus angle FEH also equal 180 degrees. So here's EFG again right here, and then here's FEH there. We also know that FGH plus angle GHE equals 180. That's this one right here, FGH and GHE. Then finally we know that FEH angle EHG equals 180 as well. That's this one up here and this one right here. Okay, so the interior angles are supplementary. There's 4 sets of those. Okay, note that we have, so we can also note our equal sides here. Okay. Also note that the diagonal is equal to the base. Okay. And we have 48 degrees here. Because the diagonal is equal to the base, we can outline in this green triangle an isosceles triangle. So note that this is an isosceles triangle here. Because of that, we have some interior angles that are equal. Let's go ahead and label these as A and B. So we know that A is equal to B. Okay. So triangle FHG is isosceles, and A equals B from base angles of isosceles triangle. Okay, so we know that that's true. Because of that, we can say that 2B is plus 48 degrees is equal to 180 because of angle sum of triangle. And so we're going to solve for B just so we can find out what to do get to H. So we'll subtract 48 from both sides. And then 2B is going to equal 10 minus 8 is 2, 18, 7 minus 4 is 3, 132, which means that B is equal to 66 degrees. Okay, so these are all 66 degrees. Okay, now we got to get to H. Because we know A and B, and the 48 degrees, does that help us get to H? Well, the key is, upon further investigation, we're going to note that this interior angle here and this interior angle here are supplementary. So I know I'm using these two because they're actually labeled. B is 66. We have this interior angle here is H and 48 together. So that's the EFG one plus FGH. So it's this first one right here. That first relationship is true. So we're going to say EFG is actually H plus 48. And I'm going to add that to 66 degrees, which is the FGH, or angle B, and set that equal to 180 degrees because they're interior. That means they're supplementary. Okay. And from there we can solve for H. Okay, so we have our plan. Let's do the teacher solution. So we need A and B. So the key is to our teacher solution is finding this angle here, H and 48, which are already given to us. But we're going to compare that with this angle, FGH, or angle B. Getting that angle first is the priority. So we get that angle from seeing that triangle FGH is isosceles. And then we can say that A is equal to B. So we'll start by saying A equals B from base angles. Of isosceles triangle. And we know that 2B plus 48 degrees equals 180 degrees from angle sum of triangle. We subtract 48 degrees from both sides, and we get 2B is equal to 132. Okay. Divide both sides by 2, and B is going to equal 66 degrees, like we found. And then now we make the relationship that of the interior angles. So h plus 48 degrees plus 66 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. The reason was that they're interior angles, and because they're interior, we need to look at which sides they're parallel to. So they're inside the parallels of EF and HG. So EF is parallel to HG, which is what we found here. Now we're going to do H plus, now 48 and 66, so the 4 tens and the 6 tens make 100. 8 and 6 makes 14. So 114 degrees equals 180 degrees. Subtract 114 degrees from both sides. And these will simplify to H, therefore H is equal to 10 minus 4 is 6, 7 minus 1 is 5. So H is equal to 56 degrees. Okay, this is problem number 15 from homework number 8. And we're going to go ahead and read the directions, things that are given to us to make our plan. We have that PQRS is a square, okay? And so I'm going to highlight this square in blue. Okay, this is a square. And when you have a square, you should have several things come to mind. Try to make this one a bit neater. Okay, what are things that come to mind? Well, all angles are 90 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark those. These blue little squares here. Okay, all angles are 90 degrees. So this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees. We also know that all sides are equal. So we'll mark those. This one is already marked here with the mark, which we're comparing it with this one. Eventually we'll get to that. But that means that all of these sides are the same length as that one. Okay. We also want to note that our triangle RST is isosceles. Okay, here's triangle RST, and I'm going to highlight it in green. RST, so separate that out from the figure. They tell us that next in our problem, which means that RS and ST are equal. Okay, RST is isosceles, which means that base angles are equal. Let's go ahead and label some base angles. This is going to be angle A, and this is going to be angle B. Okay, and we know that A is equal to B. B is equal to A. Okay, so they're the same. We also know that so we know that those angles are equal. We know that the angle that we're looking for is W, and W I'm going to show in red here. This is angle W. Looking for that angle. Note that W and 90 degrees here form one of the triangle angles. The other two that are isosceles form the other two. So let's try and get, for our plan, we're going to try and get A and B and W to get to W. Okay. So we need A and B. Now B is not related to anything. Notice that B is actually way out here. Whoops. Notice that B is just way out here. So there's no way we can do anything to get to B. Our hope lies with getting to A. Now A is amongst several things here. We have 20 degrees here, and we have a 90-degree angle here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, note that so we want to note that 20 degrees plus A is part of a triangle, also part of triangle PRS. Okay, and I'm going to highlight that in purple. So here's PRS right here. Okay, that's purple. That's in a triangle there. That triangle looks like it's half of the square, but we can't assume that right off the bat. We need to prove it somehow. If we can get to A, if we can get to this angle here, yellow here, if we can get this angle here, then we can get A, because A plus 20 equals that angle. That angle looks, the purple triangle looks like it looks like it's also isosceles, because I'm noting these two marks right here. Okay. So note triangle PRS is isosceles, which means, which is lucky for us, that A plus 20 degrees is equal to, whatever we want to call this angle up here, angle RPS. Okay, so let me reformulate that. Let me say that again. Which we're going to say that that yellow angle there, I'm going to say that this yellow angle and this yellow angle make up the base angles of that purple triangle. Now, what are the letters associated with that? So triangle PRS is isosceles. We can say that SRP, angle SRP, okay, so that's this one right here, is equal to angle RPS or SPR. Let's do SPR. Okay, which is this one right here. All right, so now we have those angles equal. So we want angle SRP, this angle right here, is A plus 20 degrees. Okay, so if we find angle SPR, we can get to A and then thus get to B, which can get us to W. Okay, so what's SPR? Now, since it's isosceles, we know that the angle RSP is 90 degrees, right here. We know that that one's 90 degrees. Then that means that angle SRP and SPR are equal. We can add those together. Okay, so if we have angle SRP plus angle SPR plus the 90 degrees equals 180 degrees because of angles sum of triangle. Okay, so we can know that. And since both of those are equal, 2 angle SRPs plus 90 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. You can use angle sum of right triangle if you want to as well. Okay, so 2 SRPs is equal to 90 degrees. Divide that by 2, angle SRP is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, so we know that this one here is equal to 45 degrees. We know that this one here is equal to 45 degrees, the whole thing there, which is our A plus 20. Okay, so we can deduce that A plus 20 is equal to 45 degrees, and A is going to equal 25 degrees. B is going to equal 25 degrees because they're base angles. Okay, right there. And then we know that the A plus B plus 90 plus W is equal to 180. So 25 plus 25 degrees plus 90 degrees plus W is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, and that's from our angle sum of triangle. All right, so we have our plan. It's pretty complicated, but we'll go ahead and step through it again with teacher solution. So what we need is, the key is to get to angle A, because angle A and B are isosceles, so angle A is the trickiest one. But let's start with our green triangle, and we know that A is equal to B, so we can start there from base angles of isosceles triangle. Okay. Now, we know that since A is equal to B, we got that far. We just need to get to A, and A was part of the square. We know that A plus 20 degrees is the base angle of that purple triangle. So because we identified the purple triangle, we can say that, go here, where we're saying that this is isosceles and these two are equal. Okay. So triangle PRS is isosceles, but we can say that angle SRP is equal to angle SPR. Okay. Remember that those are these ones right here. These ones are equal from base angles of isosceles triangle. Okay. Now this one's the green triangle right here. This one's the purple triangle right here. Okay, so we have to distinguish those. Okay, that you don't need to put in the solution, but yeah. So because SRP and SPR are equal, we can add them together. So we have two angle SRPs plus the 90 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Okay. Now this is all in the purple triangle still. And we subtract 90 from both sides. And we get 2 SRPs is equal to 90 degrees. So one angle SRP is equal to 45 degrees. Okay. And so now we've found that this angle here is 45 degrees and this angle here is also 45 degrees. We know that A plus 20 degrees is equal to that angle SRP. I'm going to write that down too. Okay. And that we can just say the angles add if you want from chapter 1. It's just a substitution, but angles add. Two adjacent angles add to each other. Okay. And we can solve it for A now by subtracting 20 degrees from both sides. A is now equal to 25 degrees. Because A equals B, so we're going down here now in our plan. We have A is 25 degrees. We know that B is equal to 25 degrees because I said that up here in the top that they're equal. And we can now formulate an equation with green triangle. So the green triangle says that 25 degrees plus 25 degrees plus 90 degrees plus W is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, that's angle sum of triangle. Okay, green triangle that time. 25 and 25 makes 50. 50 and 90 makes 140. So 140 degrees plus W is equal to 180 degrees. We'll subtract 140 degrees from both sides. And W is now going to be 40 degrees. Therefore, we have found our W. Okay, thank you for joining me on this adventure.